Welcome back. This is Defender Chassis. My name's Scott, and you're watching episode 17 of Have You Seen My Tool? In this week's episode, I want to show you a tool called a power probe. And what a power probe does is it effectively replaces this 12-volt test light plus a whole lot more. So let me get the camera moved and let you take a look at what a power probe is and what it can do for you. So as always, I am not being sponsored by this company, I'm not receiving anything for this. The idea behind this is to show you something that you're likely not aware of and can find some benefit from. If you do any kind of circuit testing on automobiles, if you have a test light like this and you use it semi-frequently, I think that you can find better use from a power probe. Now, the one that I've got is designated as a PP319 fire. Now, the fire relates to the painting on the outside, but I'm sure that PP319 relates to the kit that I've got. And these are available in different arrangements. There are different probes available, and you'll just have to do your research if it's something you're interested in and figure out what setup works for you. These can be had as cheap as just shy, I think, of $80 for just the basic probe, and then the kits go up from there. I think I saw one that just had a slew of stuff that was somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 bucks. But now this one that I've got is designated as made in the USA with global materials, but all the ones I see for sale now indicate, or the ones that do indicate country of origin, is China. So, take that for what it's worth. But let's take a look at what you get with this kit that I've got, this PP319. Now, this is your business end of the power probe, and what it comes with is the leads off of it are long enough to go from one end of a car to the other. And it comes with a set of alligator clips to hook to a battery, or this kit even came with a cigarette lighter attachment, so that if you're working on a car, you can plug this in, plug in the cigarette lighter, and be up and running. There's nothing worse when you're using one of these to try to find a ground and then not be certain whether you've actually got a good ground or not. So the fact that these things have leads that take you clear back to the battery means that there's no question, or even to the cigarette lighter, that you've got a good ground. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and put the alligator clips on it, and I'm going to hook it up. I've got the shop race car here behind me, and we're going to use the battery off of it so that you can see what's going on. Now, you'll notice that on the business end of the power probe, there is a couple LED lights. So, that can be handy if you're under a dash or something of that nature, and you need a little extra light to see where you're working. You don't have to bring the light. The light comes with you. Now, in addition to the two alligator clips, you've got a third wire. And what this allows you to do is to add a ground. Let's say you're working on a trailer that doesn't have its own battery and you want to test the lights. What you can do is use this to hook up to the trailer to do your testing and work off of a battery, say, in a vehicle that's not hooked up to the trailer. In addition, this kit came with an extension so that if for some reason the 17-18 foot of lead that is on this isn't long enough, there is an extension. Now, this works just like a test light. If you touch it to a positive source, then it's got a plus sign here, and that will light up. And then, but in addition to that, it also has a voltmeter, and this LED display will show you how many volts that you've got. Now, as an added bonus, you've also got a negative sign on this side and another LED light. So you can actually test to see if you've got a good ground somewhere. So for instance, show you how that works. If I touch this to this ground, you'll see we've got the negative sign lights up in green and you get a beep. And it indicates zeros on there for, I believe there's a certain range of resistance that indicates, and if it's over or above that, those zeros won't show up. The other benefit of one of these power probes is that you can apply 12 volts to the tip of this, or you can apply a ground to the tip of this. So if you've got something that you want to test to make sure that it works, you can deliver 12 volts, the same as what's coming out of the battery it's hooked to this tip and or a ground. So let's take a look at this light bulb, and this could be anything. It could be a fan motor or anything electric. And if we apply a ground to the body of this light bulb, we can then apply this switch forward to get positive or reverse to get a ground, and we can test this light bulb. So it's going to beep when I push it forward, and it applies. In this case, you can see there's 12.1 volts, which is what's coming out of the battery on the race car behind me, and we can test both terminals on this 1157 bulb. So you can, I think, just imagine what the benefits of something like this are. I'm going to set up a more of a real-world scenario of how you might use this to troubleshoot a problem on the fuel pump on this back here. So let me get the camera moved. We'll take a look in the trunk of this car where the connection is for the fuel pump, and see if we can't make that thing work and test and make sure that we've got everything that we need. So let me get set up for that and move the camera. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are in the trunk of this car. The configuration is this. Here's the fuel pump wires. This red and black wire runs to the fuel pump directly under this. There's a frame rail here that it's attached to, and we've got a weather pack connector that makes that connection. Now we've got a ground to the body of the car here, and then the battery, of course, is here with the ground and the hot on the other side. If we want to test and see if we've got, a hot connection here somewhere, we can touch each of these terminals, and here we're showing that we've got a ground, and on the other side, it's also showing that we've got a ground. Not having a hot source, maybe the next thing to check would be, hey, listen, can we apply power to this fuel pump and see if it's going to run. So what I'd like to do, since we can't get into these terminals, well, maybe we can. Yeah, so I'm going to apply the ground wire, because now the fuel pump's isolated from the rest of the car. I'm going to apply the ground wire on the power probe to the ground terminal on that, and then I'm going to touch this terminal, and it indicates a ground because it's going through that motor. But if I apply power through this switch, then we ought to be able to make that fuel pump run. So there you go. So now we've confirmed that the fuel pump does work if you apply power. So we need to come back to the source and try to figure out what why we don't have power. So in this case, the switch isn't on. So let me go flip that switch, get some power to there, and see if that doesn't work. Now we should have a ground, which in this case is going to be the black wire off of here. We should have ground to this side. And we do, and we should have power to this side. There we go. Different beep, and you can see that the red light's now on, indicating that we do have a positive source. Now, it's also indicating 11.9 volts, and if we go back to the battery, we've got 12. So there is a 1/10 of a volt drop between the battery and here through the circuit. I find this thing handy. It actually has several modes. This is a Power Probe 3. I'm going to assume that there's a, you know, a 1 and a 2, and there may be some since this. I've had this for a few years. And there are other features that this has. It has 5 different modes to detect high and low voltage, and I don't know, all kinds of things that I don't have a use for, and I'm not familiar with how it works. So it'll do way more than what I've even showed you here today. And you know, for the cost, you know, one of these is $79 or $75 or something like that for just the basic Power Probe. You know, Snap-on's getting like $54 or something for their basic test light. Take a look and see if it won't help you with some of your diagnostic problems. Hey, listen, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week on episode 18 of Have You Seen My Tool? Thanks for watching.